have a confession. We've never watched Lost.
Now, we're tired of hearing about it, so we're finally watching the hit TV show for the first time.
Come along with us to the island.
And please stay close by because
We're so lost.
We need to stop waiting. We're also rewatching the classic ABC TV series Lost. I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm Anne-Marie DeSimone.
Glad to be here on another Monday night, 8:30 p.m. EST, when we get around to it. And this also...
When we get around. We're here, whatever, it's happening.
It happens on odd nights sometimes.
Really...
So if you come every Monday night live at 8:30 p.m. EST at live.universebox.com, you might not see us and our wonderful chatters.
Chatters!
But a lot of times you will.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be kept abreast of when we're recording, I would recommend following our podcast Twitter at We're So Lost. And,
Or on Facebook at, facebook.com/We're So Lost.
Yeah, and this also fulfills the 5 episodes we wanted to get in the can before we make this an actual podcast. So people who are watching live, if you want to hear the audio version, you'll be able to subscribe to the feed very soon. And those of you who've been following us, those of you who have been in chat, we would love for you guys to go ahead and run over to iTunes there and leave us a review.
Yes, please leave us a review because that way it'll get bumped up, and especially since Lost isn't, exactly a current show.
Exactly. It'll really, really help for sure.
It would help. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have that link. We'll be tweeting that link, Facebooking that link later on this week, probably. Yeah. So
later on this week when we maybe do another episode.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay, but this week, we're talking about Season 1, Episode 5. Anne-Marie, why don't you go ahead and hit us up with the rhyming episode summary?
Excuse me. Why is Jack Shephard feeling most bad? How would you feel with a haunting ghost dad? Someone in camp steals all the water? Bad in a climate that always grows hotter. Will managing others become a plight habit? Jack falls down a hill chasing the white rabbit.
White rabbit.
White rabbit.
White rabbit.
Rabbit.
White rabbit.
Rabbit.
Anne-Marie, what'd you think?
I love this episode.
You did?
I really did. I really, really did.
Yeah, I think you probably had a stronger reaction to it than I did. I liked it and everything, but you were like,
I wasn't quite gaga, but I was pretty excited about it.
You came out from your second viewing going poker face. You were that gaga.
No,
you were.
I can't look. I just
Story.
Can't even I'm an emoji right now. I'm the flat faced emoji at him.
Yes.
That reads well for our audio listeners.
Definitely.
No, I just was really excited because it finally actually addressed things that have been bothering me, i.e., y'all, we don't know if people are coming. You might want to do something about that. Just saying.
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely liked it too. I know that we have some feedback from Rebecca Johnson coming up a little bit later, where she loves this episode.
Yeah, she really does, and. I think I'm on the Rebecca Johnson train with that one.
Yeah, and it was I really liked it. I don't think it was the strongest episode we've seen this far. I think that might have been last week for me.
Okay, so you're on the Michael Lucero train.
Maybe. I'm a Michael Lucero. You're a Rebecca Johnson. It's all good.
Uh-oh, that means that I'm going to like the Snow Queen here soon then.
Okay, but we'll go ahead and get started with our main discussion here. Spoiler policy. Let them know our spoiler policy.
I was like, it was in there. Okay, spoiler policy is don't spoil it. We will talk about anything up until the episode that we are currently recording. If you have some burning, undying desire to tell us something that happens in 3 episodes, you're going to need to email us with a spoiler and tell us exactly what episode, and we'll read it then. So don't do it in the chat room. Don't do it in the comments. Just keep it to yourselves.
Yeah, and you can do some general stuff like, that will be answered eventually.
Don't tell us when.
Yeah, and it's just because we're not particularly spoiler phobes or anything, but
only on this one.
Yeah, just because the whole conceit of this is we've never watched it, and we're reacting to it as if we've never watched it before because we haven't. That's not a joke. We really haven't. I have seen season 1.
You have,
but it was 10 years ago.
Right, and I know nothing. So. Any of my cockeyed theories are just my own cockeyed theories.
And this is exactly the kind of vague spoiler we're talking about.
Well, we've had to correct him before.
But Michael Lucero says the thing about this episode is that it has some really important stuff in it, but you don't really realize it until much later. So yeah, that's nice and vague.
That's what we like.
That gets us excited. Okay, but wait, one of the first thing I wanted to talk about in this episode is that Jack finally kind of comes around. I had been theorizing the past week or two that he was probably going to have some burnout or something like that because everybody was coming to him for
everything.
For everything. Like even at the beginning of this episode, Charlie's like, "Someone's drowning. Go get Jack." Like, don't turn to the guy beside you who might be able to swim. No, I got to go get Jack.
Well, he was a lifeguard. Boone, oh no, I guess Charlie was the one who ran after him, but Boone was a lifeguard, the one who did go after her. Mm-hmm. So, in all reality, he should have been able to make it. So, there's that. Continue.
But, but people are constantly coming to Jack by default, and I could tell it was going to start to wear on him. And this episode, it totally does. Losing Joanna finally did it, as it were. Johanna. Johanna did it! Johanna finally did it. Joanna finally did it. That's a little inside joke from our Greetings from Storybrooke podcast. But as his dad told him, it's not how big he can win, it's how hard the losses affect him. And he has a complete breakdown when he has this really big loss.
He goes cuckoo bananas.
Yeah, just off into the woods.
Into the woods.
But he probably beats himself up most because he decides to save Boone, a known character, versus saving the red shirt Joanna. Which I thought was kind of interesting because normally, the whole nature of a red shirt type character is that, they end up dying and the main characters just move on. And no, this really, really affected him. And it meant something to the series, to the character, to the whole way the episode went down and how things will progress from here on out, which I thought was really cool.
Right.
Because, we never got to meet Joanna either, I don't think.
Well, and see, that's another thing that bothers me is, there were only 47 people. Y'all couldn't have sat around at least once and had a slight powwow and gone, let's go around the table and find out who you are. Here's your piece of wild boar. What is your name? Where are you from? What is your status? Now you may eat.
You can't eat unless I get your name.
Well, doesn't it, you're stuck on a desert island. Don't you kind of want to at least know people's names?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah, Angel says in the chat room that Jack took charge in the first episode, so of course people are going to see him as the leader.
Completely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can definitely see that too. But at the end of the episode, he finally realizes that in order to lead, in order to make it through and do the things that he needs to do as a leader, he needs to start delegating, which is something I was calling for a week or two back.
At least.
So, everybody needs to pull their weight and play a part in this whole, not just trying to get rescued thing now, this whole just surviving thing. And hopefully they can make some progress once everybody isn't all dehydrated, because I'm sure people...
they're all going nuts. I'm surprised Claire hasn't gone into labor. Yes, I'm going to keep talking over you because that's how I function. The dehydration, a woman should have gone into labor from being dehydrated.
Yeah, you could tell that all of the actors in this week's episode were playing it as, we're just kind of out there crazy because of the dehydration
They were
factor.
cuckoo bananas.
Yeah, definitely.
Lots of cuckoo bananas.
Definitely. And I love Charlie in the chat room says, I feel bad for Boone. She also loves that actor.
Ian's the guy who plays Boone. Got it. Okay, so Hurley and Charlie, speaking of Charlie for all the lovers in the audience. So we have Jack, Saeed, and Kate, who are kind of the leaders and the decision makers, and they're all, wait, what? To make sure. And then there's Hurley and Charlie, who are actually running around doing the errands and kind of trying to keep everybody comfortable. Because from, day one, Hurley was in charge of the food. Charlie has sort of been skirting around, tending to people. Specifically, both of them have befriended Claire, aka Prego. And they're the only ones who really talk to her, and in her own words, that don't look at her like she's a ticking time bomb. I almost wish, though, the way that they were talking, that, they would have a notebook keeping track of supplies. There has to be at least one diary on that plane and a pen. Well, we know there was at least 7 pens or so from the first episode.
Well, it really doesn't help when Sawyer is kind of squirreling things away to barter with other people on the island either.
But he sort of did that that wasn't stuff that they had known about. He wasn't taking things from the group. Yeah. He was taking things the group hadn't found yet. I actually have a thing on that later. Oh, okay. A little bit. But I like watching the friendship between Hurley and Charlie. because like the fishing lessons last week, and they're both going over here. Okay, this is this is can we do one of those stick things? Why don't we use the dog? Like they were doing everything together, and it was nice. It was just nice to see people happily working together. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely like it. And I definitely think that's a trend that's going to continue. Although I feel like at some point Charlie is going to start going through withdrawals here because he didn't have that much.
That wasn't that
much H-bomb.
No, but you can tell that he was being conservative with it. I don't know.
Trying to stretch it out a little bit.
Well, yeah. Who knows how long you'll be there?
Like a good junkie.
Like
Michael Lucero in the chat.
Sorry.
That was remarkable. I love that. Michael Lucero in the chat room says, I love Locke's quote, a leader can't lead till he knows where he's going. So many great moments from Locke this episode. Very much agreed. And let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it. Angel has something here. Says,
yes.
I don't know if they can't find a hairbrush. I feel like it would be difficult to find a journal or enough paper to do that. Then again, hairbrushes do have a mysterious ability to hide themselves.
True. It's just like matching socks.
Very true.
Absolutely.
Very true.
That is weird, though, about the hairbrush. Like, seriously, 25 bags and nobody's got a hairbrush? It was because it was all in the carry-ons, probably.
Well, I was going to say, obviously, there's a whole other cache of stuff from the plane, maybe.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we will get to that. But this is kind of related. Ghost Dad. The Ghost Dad that Jack sees throughout the episode, starting last week, and, he chases through the woods. The White Rabbit, as it were. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we end up with several possibilities for what this phenomena is by the end of the episode. One, Ghost Dad's a freaking zombie.
Ghost Dad is a zombie. I like it. I'm in.
I love it. I don't think that it's going to happen. I don't think it's true. But Ghost Dad could also be a manifestation of Jack's guilt of whatever it is that he did that his mom talks about in the flashback. Because she's like,
you did this.
Yeah, you did this, and we don't know what this is yet.
No.
So
we're really good at not knowing what people did.
If I was going to guess right now, I would say this was maybe dropping out of med school. Maybe Jack's not actually the doctor we think he is.
No.
You don't think so?
I think he was the doctor, but maybe he was quitting. Like, he went through it. I mean, you don't operate on the dude who has the shrapnel hanging out of him.
Well, I could see someone getting like 3/4 of the way through med school, knowing how to do that. Or maybe he got through med school and didn't do like his, what is it?
Residency?
What they were doing, the residency.
I was waiting for that.
I was going to say the thing they did on Scrubs for the first several seasons of Scrubs. So I mean, it could be just a hallucination, as he says in this episode, a manifestation of his guilt. And Michael Lucero says you'll find out what Jack did sometime this season.
Oh, yay!
Good. I assumed we probably
figured,
would.
Yeah.
And the third possibility, and the one that's probably the most interesting to me, is that Ghost Dad is part of the force behind the monster island thing that Locke says in this episode that he looked into the eye of last week. Yeah, so
which we believe because we saw it.
Yeah, I think he said it was the heart of the island, and so this force was either leading Jack away from the others to make them weaker and more vulnerable, so he could take advantage of them, or towards something. And, the whole White Rabbit metaphor with Alice in Wonderland and everything. And I do happen to know something, a little spoiler, something I remember about Lost from when I watched it 10 years ago, involving sort of a hole in the ground that comes into play later on. So I'm thinking maybe that's what the White Rabbit thing is. Maybe this hallucination or this force of the island was trying to lead Jack to this hole in the ground that will come into play later on. I won't get too spoilery with it or anything.
Yes,
but,
please, because we have a policy.
So I think, it's very possible that maybe if this is the island leading Jack somewhere, maybe he's leading Jack towards this rabbit hole in something that could possibly help them. That's my thoughts. What do you think about Ghost Dad? What are your thoughts about him?
I go with it's a force because at this point it's always led us towards something. Last week it led him towards Locke and the boar.
Yeah.
Like it led them right there just as he came out of the woods. So obviously it was like guiding him, and this time it got him to the water. It got him to more supplies.
Yeah, and I love Charlie in the chat room says that too.
Yeah,
The waterfall.
it was the waterfall. It was what they desperately needed at the time. Last week they desperately needed the food. This week they desperately needed the water. So, Ghost Dad is his tour guide. I'm out of ice, but
You okay?
I tried to shake my water and make the clinky sound like the ice cubes in the alcohol. It didn't work. It sprayed me in the eye. But that noise was what led him. And you know what I'm talking. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, and Mike Lucero says there are several holes in the ground in this show, and they each played very different roles in the story. So,
Shenanigans.
although I will say that when I was writing my notes for this episode, that the first time that occurred to me, I was like, "Will the White Rabbit lead him down?" And then immediately he fell down the hill.
That is fantastic.
But wait, one last thing about Ghost Dad I wanted to bring up before we move on is just, are we definitely sure that this was his dad's casket?
Yeah.
Are we sure that this was definitely part of their wreck and not somebody else's wreck? I was thinking with all those little dolls, like that he found in the water and like the trail leading with all those little dolls, maybe these are related to the woman's voice we heard on the recording.
Disagree.
Maybe it's not their wreck that he found.
I think it is.
You think it is?
You're not going to recognize your own father's casket that you purchased?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess.
They're all different.
Another possibility with the casket, why the casket might be empty, you know how he was pleading with the lady at the gate to let him on. Maybe she did something fishy like, we can't take the body in there, but this dude wants the casket on there, so why don't we dump the body, load the casket? No. And he'll never notice because he said that the funeral was going to be, the hearse picks him up at the airport, they go straight to the thing and bury him. So, I mean, maybe she was like, yeah, I could get away with it,
I disagree with that one.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
I know. I'm just.
I feel like that's a good explanation for why there wasn't a body in the casket, because it obviously didn't fall out because the casket was still
closed,
shut tight. Like, I mean, it was probably nailed shut because he had to kind of push it open. So I'm saying that maybe that might be a thing. I don't know.
It might be.
I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if I'll be right or not.
Throw it out, see if it sticks. So far, not
exactly.
So much slobbering down the wall. Okay. So Kate and Saeed are thought of as leaders, but like the past couple episodes, they haven't really done too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, last week we were trying to hang up things and triangulate the signal and blah, 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 but they didn't really do much other than, like, if they're going to lead, they need to lead everyone, not just their own one little thing.
Yeah.
Then they're no better than the Korean couple that they yelled at over 2 bottles of water. But Locke has really stepped up to that leadership role and understanding what role he needs to play. And by volunteering to do as much as he's doing, like he volunteered to go into the woods last week and lead a hunt. He volunteered this week to go find water alone, which is weird. He should have taken somebody. You would think anybody would have gone with him. Like, carry a couple of the empty bottles that they had so that they could fill up a maximum amount of water wherever they were.
Locke kind of seems like the guy that he's going to go on his own and you're not going to really question him because he always gets results.
Right, and he has 400 knives.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like.
Well, I kind of feel it's weird that this group of main characters, I guess you could say, have kind of wrested control of the entire situation from a group of 47 people or whatever.
Right.
Sometimes it feels a little unnatural that especially with Jack. But I mean, obviously he's the main character, he's the leader. So I can see the dynamic they're working with, but at the same time, real world scenario, I don't know if I would see this breaking down exactly this way. I think there would be a lot more infighting before a leader emerged, or one that everyone would instantly respect, like Jack.
But you instantly respect a doctor who took control the second that they crashed. Really, like that's how. And I think they pointed it out earlier was that's how he got in that leadership role. Is he started directing people the second he saw what happened after waking up out of his fog. Like, he helped people. He did stuff. He saved people's lives. So they're going to follow him. But Kate and Saeed, they haven't done too much yet. We're still like, it seemed a little weird. The Locke's like, no, I'm gonna go get water. They need you guys here. For what? They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like Kate's sorting clothes and Saeed's, I don't know. I don't. Saeeding. So there's that.
Working on the radio and whatnot.
Working on.
Over in the chat room, Angel says, "Bill, where would they keep the body, Bill? It's the Australian outback. They can just toss it out the back door. Some wild animals will deal with
awful.
it." She also says, "Also, Bill, we're talking about an island where a paralyzed man can now walk. Apparently, so empty casket. I'll believe anything."
Thank you.
Very good point. Very good point. And Michael says, that's not the last time you'll see a doll. And, where'd it go? The last time you'll see a doll. And the other one is 100 times more creepy.
Ooh, yay.
Love creepy dolls. Love creepy dolls. You know what else I love? Patreon. Anne-Marie, why don't you tell them a little bit about our Patreon?
Hi, guys. You might be aware we have a Patreon.
We do.
Over at patreon.com/universebox. And it's a great way to help support all of our podcasts. Yeah. Am I on the screen? Oh, no. Am I on the screen? No, I am. It's a way to make a monthly donation to support Greetings from Storybook, Legends of Gotham. We're so lost in various other universe box properties that shall emerge at various moments in time.
Yes.
You can make a donation starting at 10 cents. I don't know, $5, $10, $3. I don't care what you want. But we have all sorts of rewards, which will be revamped maybe tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, this week sometime, because I'm on vacation this week. So now's a good time to do this kind of house cleaning stuff.
So we've gotten rid of external ads. We've started doing some movie commentaries. We are going to actually be doing a patron. There we go. Patron hangout. I believe for New Year's if you're around. We're working on some new stuff. So patreon.com/universebox. Look for some updates coming soon.
Yeah, and we want to thank our 29 patrons who are currently giving us $143.52 a month. We love each and every one of you with all of our hearts. If you want to join that elite team of storytellers, patreon.com/universebox. Remember to think outside. Okay, so I guess what we're going to do now, as we usually do, we're going to have obviously, we like the episode a lot, so no worries there. But when we don't, we always have Michael Lucero around to kind of talk us down. So, Michael Lucero, take it away.
So what happens when I leave this voicemail? I don't know, but I've looked into the eye of this podcast, and what I saw was beautiful. Hey, Bill and Anne-Marie, it's Michael. I really enjoyed this episode, probably a lot more than I have in the past. Even though Walkabout has a bigger plot twist and a more emotional character moment, I really like this episode because it has a weirder, more surreal feel throughout that I really enjoy. And Jack has typically been one of my least favorite characters in the show the first time through, but now that I know his full story arc, I really like him, and I find him a lot more sympathetic and interesting. And I really liked the scene at the end of this episode, the whole live together, die alone speech. There's a lot of really core themes to this show, and that's definitely one of them. And you see it here explored for the first time. Another main theme that this episode explores that's core to this show is the idea of science versus faith, skepticism versus belief. You see that in the conversation that Jack and Locke have in the middle of the jungle, where Jack looks at his experiences from the perspective of his medical knowledge, calling it a hallucination, whereas Locke clearly emerges as a man of faith. He says, "This place is different. We all know it. We all feel it." And he delivers his famous line, "I've looked into the eye of this island and what I saw was beautiful." I always kind of get goosebumps when I hear that line. It's one of my favorites from him. So that's a major theme. And it's interesting that in this episode, Jack and Locke are actually I feel like they're on more common ground than they will be for quite some time in the story. Also, the scene right before that, the cliff scene where Jack almost falls off the cliff and Locke rescues him. I don't know if you all noticed this, but they referenced this scene in Once Upon a Time in season 1, episode 7:15 a.m. pretty much almost about halfway through the episode, and I actually went back and watched it. It's very similar, almost like scene for scene, like shot for shot. It's almost completely duplicated, even down to there being like a little creek at the bottom of the cliff. And I really like that. I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's the one where Charming and Snow White are sneaking off into the woods and getting freaky.
I noticed that Sawyer is reading the book Watership Down in this episode, which I love because that's a great novel. If you've never read it, I definitely recommend it. And one of the ideas in that novel is leadership and different visions of leadership and what it means to be a good leader. And I think that's pretty relevant to this show. They explore similar ideas in Lost as well. So I thought it was interesting that Kate and I share a sign. We're both Geminis. So, okay, the main thing that I'm sure you're wondering about is what does it mean that Jack's dead father is walking around the island? And that is something that has major significance, actually, both for the show's plot and for the overarching mythology. And you won't really get answers to that anytime soon. But definitely be thinking about that and be paying attention to, other things that happen. So overall, I loved this episode. I think there's a lot going on in here to think about and to talk about. I would give it, I'd say probably, 18.5 out of 19 light comma sticks. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the episode. Can't wait to hear the podcast. And as always, thank you, namaste, and good luck.
Namaste.
Namaste. Okay, right here from the chat room before we move on, Derby Kid says the directing, editing, and camera work on Lost is top notch.
Yes, which comes from Angel's comment about the camera work of Jack in the Jungle is very disorienting and sort of reflects Jack's mind space at that moment.
Yeah, and I Love Charlie says theory, when the plane crashed, everyone died.
Ooh,
and the island isn't real. It's plenty real.
That is totally real.
You can't be dehydrated unless you're real.
And you know what? Exactly. Who dehydrates a ghost?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
I was like, I can't argue with that.
You don't dehydrate a ghost.
Okay.
Powdered ghost doesn't work.
You know who you can dehydrate, though?
Oh, that's wrong.
A Korean couple. And there is a Korean couple on this show, Jin and Sun. And they're very frustrated in this episode, which I completely identify with, because how hard would it be to be on this island with all these other people and not know what the heck's going on?
But the only one that is frustrated is Sun. Yin in his magic sushi doesn't care.
Well, I think he's frustrated too.
I
think he's frustrated.
No, I don't think so. He's just like, meh, they'll rescue us.
Yeah, he's very optimistic about it, and I think he's more concerned. He's more concerned with the unit of them than the unit of them, all of them. You know, and that's something that's gonna give them those two characters a very different approach than everyone else on that beach throughout the series, definitely. And I'm very anxious to see how that progresses, especially as things move on. Are they going to learn some English, or are the other people going to learn some Korean?
I would imagine. Are
they going to figure out a way to communicate other than caveman ways, like Sawyer says in this episode? You know, so I was a little unclear by the time I finished watching the episode. Really? Who exactly stole the water? Was it them?
Boone. It was Boone. They specifically said, Sawyer said he traded a fish to them. Or a fish they caught for his 2 bottles of water caveman style. You just referenced it.
I did, but the thing is, it just seemed a little unclear because, you know, they had water and then Boone had water, but he said he just found it in a tent.
Yes, so it was in the tent that's the hospital, because that's where they had put it.
Okay, so
they had put the case of the water there, and when Jack went cuckoo bananas and ran off to the woods after Ghost Dad, he went and took the water, sort of in a sense that he could, Jack couldn't be trusted.
Okay, I got
I was
that
like,
then.
why are you confused?
Well,
They
no,
specifically.
I really put the question in there just because I figured there was a definitive answer, and I wanted to ask you since you get to watch these episodes twice. I
I
generally watch them
choose
once.
to watch them twice. You choose to watch them once.
Well, to be fair, me watching them once now is me watching them twice overall. Because
Okay.
I've watched them once 10 years ago or something. So I'm trying to keep things kind of loosey-goosey. So let's see here. What else was I going to say about that? Okay, so I have a feeling that if Sun and Jin have any way to get into the whole nature of the teamwork among the people on the island, that Michael's going to be their way in. Michael's going to be the one that helps at least Sun break down those walls.
I think it's actually more Walt than Michael.
You think Walt more than Michael?
Because, like, she told him the brushing the teeth thing.
Yeah.
And Michael's like, yeah, like, seemed really iffy about it. I think it's going to be somehow the two of them. Maybe they'll finally bond and not hate each other.
Well, I was kind of wondering, maybe, I was thinking, Michael, his family, I mean, that group.
Yeah.
Those two might be, Jin and Sun's way into the wider group. But I also thought maybe she was starting to think that maybe Michael doesn't trust her so much because he saw Michael telling Walt not to drink the water, not to swallow the water. Like, did she think that he thought that she was trying to poison his son or something like that?
No, because it was salt water from the ocean.
No, I know. We heard the conversation between Michael and Walt. We understood the context of it, that he just didn't want to dehydrate his son even further. But from the outside, across the way, it might have looked like he was like,
probably did.
Don't put that crap in your system because she's probably giving you some sort of fooey hooey, Dewey and Louie. So I think, again, I think that's one of the most interesting dynamics in the entire show, especially moving forward, because how are they going to get looped into this whole Operation Build a New Society on the island kind of thing?
From the chat room, Michael O'Sara. I just wish there was a way we could find out more about Sun and Jin sometime soon.
I have a feeling a flashback.
So it's probably either next week or the week after.
That one I might have to watch twice because I have a feeling there'll be a lot of subtitles.
Yeah, there's lots of reading involved.
Because with their scenes in this episode, like I had to watch the scene and then jot down a bunch of notes real quick.
Well, but then there was also the one scene that they didn't subtitle. I hate when they don't subtitle it. It's like, why do I have to be in the dark about what they did?
Because it's part of the mystery.
I don't like the
box.
mysteries. Okay, Sawyer in his rat hole.
Oh, wait a second.
No?
I will say that Angel says I started looking into Korean etiquette, and from what I can tell, there is a level of privacy. Like, apparently they don't interact with people they haven't been formally introduced to, which you can definitely see. And it's a cultural thing, where...
Crashed on a deserted island. And he walked around offering people food.
He did.
What happened to that guy?
Well, I think he was trying to ingratiate himself to people to kind of find his place within the society, and most people outright rejected him. So I except for Claire, who got his magic sushi. And so I feel like maybe he was like, okay, well, maybe it's not even worth it then because these people aren't going to trust us anyway. So the best thing we can do is hunker down as a 2-person unit and make it through this until help arrives. And they don't know that help's not coming. They don't know anything about the radio. I mean, all they know is the passage of time. They don't even know that, supplies are dwindling. They might not know that lady died out in the water earlier that day.
They figured that one out.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Joanna
did it. Okay, so Sawyer in his rat hole. All he has in his rat hole are ciggies, alcohol, and what appeared to be some snacks, which those are important.
Yes.
But there wasn't many from what it looked like. It looked like a carton of cigarettes and mini bottles of vodka. Mm-hmm. That's what he's hoarding out there?
That's the rat hole we know.
That's the rat hole we know.
Well, we also know he had the off spray or whatever, or the suntan.
He did have the suntan. Well, no, it wasn't suntan.
To guard against sand
ants.
Or
sand fleas. Sand fleas. It keeps
yeah.
the sand fleas off. So it's like a bug spray. But so there's that. I'm pretty impressed that he kept it hidden away from everybody for so long. And it seemed a little weird that he gave Kate the police badge because she's the new sheriff in town.
She's the sheriff.
Seeing as how she's the bad guy, What are you doing over there?
Oh, I'm just pulling something up for my next point. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Like, what's going on? He thinks of her as an enforcer, but I'm assuming he doesn't know anything about her past because we had talked about the fact of did he overhear that she was the prisoner, and I'm assuming he didn't.
Yeah, well, I definitely think that he feels there's something not completely on the up and up with her, but I think he's okay with that.
Well, yeah, because he's not completely on the up and up.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I wonder how long he's going to be able to keep his general store open and, be bartering with people. Because, I mean, like you said, there's not much there. And he doesn't seem the type to really just go off in the woods on his own and try and salvage stuff from other wreck sites or, go kill a boar or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess it all remains to be seen for sure. Okay. So let's see. Something I noticed on Charlie when he was talking with Claire was he had it was either a tattoo or he'd written it on his arm.
I think it was a tattoo.
The little quote that says, "Living is easy with eyes closed," and I was like, that must have some sort of significance. So I went and took a look at it. And it's a line from the song by the Beatles, "Strawberry Fields Forever." So I figured it might be useful to I'll read the lyrics here and then maybe see if it inspires anything in me, you, or the chat room to chime in about, something that might tie together, or something that might say something wider about the show. And a couple lines actually do speak to me in that way. Okay, it's "Let me take you down because I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real and nothing to get hung up about. Strawberry fields forever. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all you'll see. It's getting hard to be someone, but it all works out. It doesn't matter much to me. Let me take you down because I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real and nothing to get hung up about. Strawberry fields forever. No one, I think, is in my tree. I mean, it must be high or low. That is, you can't, tune in, but it's all right. That is, I think it's not too bad." And then the chorus again. "I always know, sometimes think it's me. But I know when it's a dream. I think I know I mean a yes, but it's all wrong. That is, I think I disagree. And then let me take you down because I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real. Nothing to get hung up about. Strawberry fields forever."
While you still have that up, because
Links in the doc if you want to.
I know. Okay, fine. I'll just look at it myself then. No, continue. Go ahead. Tell us what you were inspired by.
Oh no, well, obviously there's the imagery of the trees and kind of like the highs and the lows. Something else very obviously is that this is kind of like a druggy kind of song, and Charlie's a druggie, so obviously he would feel very inspired by it. But let's see. There were a couple ones that I particularly like the stanza that the episode is taken from, or the quote on his arm is taken from. "Living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see. It's getting hard to be someone, but it all works out. It doesn't matter much to me." It's getting hard to be someone makes me think of this theme of you're starting a new life on the island. Living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see. That makes me
everything's a misunderstanding.
And that also makes me think of their life before the island. We're seeing that a lot where, kind of a lot of them were walking, like with Locke especially, for example. He was walking around with eyes closed, and then now that he's here on the island and he's on his walkabout, his eyes are open and he's achieving his true potential. Okay. Which I thought was kind of cool. Okay. But anything else in the chat room? Oh, Michael Lucero says, coincidentally, next week episode involves Sawyer finding a large amount of strawberries.
But none of them are real.
Nice.
See, that makes it more fun.
So, yeah, this might be something we can return to a little bit, too. Strawberry fields forever.
All right.
Random thoughts.
From
Quibbles and bits.
Quibbles and bits, as we sometimes call them. Dear Shannon, we ain't going to the club. Perhaps you should talk to Kate about some practical clothing.
Well, I mean, that's practical for a very warm beach, probably. I mean, you don't want to be wearing a parka.
Does she need the hoop earrings that are down to her shoulders?
Maybe.
No, she doesn't. Those could be used for something else. Is there a list of the survivors? This sort of goes with what I was saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Is like maybe a part of the new structure that they create, because there are only 46 of them. They should
Mm-hmm.
at least know who everybody is.
Well, wasn't Claire kind of put in charge of that?
No,
Well, she was
for the deceased.
Yeah, the deceased.
Right. But
Well, I
why
think-
wouldn't they have done it at the same time?
Didn't she come up and say Joanne had an ear infection?
Yes.
And so yeah, maybe she is like
Talking to people.
the record keeper, kind of the record keeper of the group.
Kind of, but I'm not sure because, she says that nobody really looks at her straight. They always feel uncomfortable around her and
Mm-hmm.
all that sort of thing, which, there's various reasons. So, what else is in that other wreckage? So far, all we have is creepy ass dolls, a now demolished empty coffin, and a heavily used baseball bat. Could they be lucky enough for someone to have been shipping something helpful, like soap or toilet paper or food or medicine?
Maybe that's where the peanuts are.
Peanuts?
The airline peanuts? I guess they don't do those anymore, but they did back then.
Did they?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. And why don't they utilize the dog more? Because he would have been very good for, hunting or maybe finding the water a little better than the ghost of Jack's dad, which was good. But I feel like the dog.
Yeah, I feel like, it's a domesticated animal, though. It'll probably need some more specific training before it'll be useful in that sense.
Yeah, see, you say that, but it's on an island. It's hungry and thirsty, too. It's going to find... It's a wild animal. It's going to find a way. At the very
Yeah.
least, it may have been able to find plants that are edible. Like, for all they know, half of this jungle's edible.
I just hope it doesn't bite anybody.
I mean, like how you got bit by a
Yeah,
dog?
I got bit by a dog
You got bit by
yesterday.
a small yippy dog.
I got bit by a dog yesterday, and then we went and took a big hike out through a bunch of, tropical woods.
Oh, where people
today.
spotted bears near us.
Yeah, so that was fun.
A mama and a baby, so that's terrifying.
Definitely.
Some
And
snakes.
Michael Lucero says, I'm one of the few people who actually like both Shannon and Boone. I think I need more information on them.
I'm okay with Boone. Shannon, I want to slap with a silly stick.
Yeah, because you could tell he felt bad about not being able to get out there to Joanne. at the beginning
Right,
of the
but I
episode.
mean, okay, given the choice, are you going to save someone you know or someone you don't know?
Very true. Very true.
And what was he going to do? Drag Boone with him to save her? Then he's really going to be in trouble.
Did Boone just run out of energy, I guess?
I think so. Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing. He's like, I'd have been fine. No, dude, you were drowning.
Mm-hmm.
He picked you up and you were spurting.
Well, it was almost like at that point, maybe, give him a leg up for a second and then send him back on his own. And there were
But he
people
wasn't collecting his...
There were people on the beach who could have come out and got him, But then
And
again,
also, did nobody else know how to swim? Again, 46 other people.
you'd think someone would know how to swim. Anyone.
At least a little bit.
The dog. They should have sent the dog out. We've solved it.
Seriously, the people upstairs are running around like crazy.
We should be leading this group, not Jack.
No, I don't want to live on an island.
Okay, Anne-Marie.
Yeah.
Arbitrary scale.
Okay.
Out of 43 bottles of water, how many bottles of water do you give this episode?
41.
Why?
I really liked it.
You did?
I did.
Why?
I did really like it. I liked the chasing Ghost Dad and finding the water. Like, that all made me really, really happy, even though he was cuckoo bananas.
Mm-hmm.
Backstory really told us nothing, and there wasn't too many flashbacks, so yay, thank you. I don't know. I just liked, there was a lot of, I feel so weird saying this. There's a lot of character development with people this week. Lots more personal connections were being made, and like, I feel like you could kind of see the heat and the dehydration taking a hold of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was neat to see. Not neat. That's a weird word.
Neat.
You could see the way people were handling it. Like, Kate just went berserk to try and find the water, and like that's not the way to go. And Saeed's like screaming at the Korean people as if screaming louder makes them understand English. And, like, stuff. So 41. You?
41. Me, I'm going to go with like 38.
Okay.
Because again, I really liked it. I thought last week was a lot stronger of an episode. It did open up a lot more questions for me, which is good and bad, because I would have liked some sort of definitive answer on Ghost Dad, but obviously
Coming soon.
Obviously, well, not coming soon, coming eventually.
Eventually.
Michael told us.
Yeah.
Overall, I liked it. I just didn't like it quite as much as it paled in comparison to last week. And a Derby Kid over in the chat room, which we'll hear from in a minute, Rebecca, or Rebexel, as I have her here, 40. Michael Lucero says 42 and a half bottles, 42 and a half bottles spilled on the beach. And I Love Charlie says 40 bottles of water. So I gave it the lowest score.
You did.
I think maybe I lowered my score just a little bit because I saw other people so gaga over it that
that would be me.
Yeah, poker face, and maybe it made me back up and be like, was that great of an episode?
See, and the comedy is you like I liked last week, but not nearly as much as like you and Michael.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was a really good episode, but it wasn't like knock me over episode.
Yeah, and Angel T says, I'm with Anne-Marie, 41. This episode was really fascinating. And as I mentioned before, the camera work. I think the one thing that knocked it down for me at the moment is that it wasn't completely clear to me why Boone stole the water. So
I think it was all a matter of retaliation to Jack.
I can see that. I can see that. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up with some feedback. As always, as you move through the episodes, you can feel free to shoot us some feedback. And our email is we're so lost podcast@gmail.com. The Facebook is facebook.com/we're so lost. The Twitter is @we're so lost. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. And today in voicemail, we have Rebecca Johnson, aka @Derby Kid on Twitter, aka the co-host of Supergirl Radio. And she has some thoughts on this week's episodes. Take it away, Rebexel.
What's up, We're So Lost?
What's up?
This is Rebecca Johnson, and I can't believe it's taking me this long to call in about one of my all-time favorite TV shows. But since Jack Shephard is one of my favorite characters, I'd probably put him in my top 3. So White Rabbit seemed like a fitting time for me to chime in. Jack's backstory reinforces one of his defining character traits, his need to fix people. But what I really love about this episode is that it sets him up to be a true leader on the island. It's a big episode for Jack, but it's also huge for all of the Oceanic 815 survivors. And with your Once Upon a Time knowledge, I'm sure you will have picked up on the Alice in Wonderland references, but here's a pro tip from an already established Lost fan. Pay attention to those literature mentions, whether they be in the form of conversations or books on a shelf. They are there for a reason, and the more you dig into them, the more you'll get out of the series. I also believe this is the first time in White Rabbit that the musical track titled Life and Death appears on the show. This is one of my favorite pieces from Michael Giacchino's score, and you'll hear those piano notes a lot. It usually cues the audience to grab some Kleenex tissues, but I find it to be beautifully moving in its simplicity. And as a video editor, I feel compelled to mention that this is the first episode Mark Goldman edited for the show. You might recognize his name from Once Upon a Time, but I became a fan of his through his work on Law, for which he won an Emmy. And I just wanted to end this voicemail by saying a thank you for just doing this podcast. I had been trying to find the time to rewatch the show for the 3rd time, and following along with you has been a great way to do that. So I look forward to hearing your thoughts.
Hey, Michael.
You already did that, Michael.
Cool down, Michael. As always, you can email us. We're So Lost Podcast. By the way, thank you very much,
Rebecca. Stop calling her Rebexel.
I'm going to do it one more time, Rebexel. Email us, we're so lost podcast@gmail.com. Facebook.com/we're so lost. The Twitter is we're so lost. We're so lost, I guess. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. Again, like I said earlier, we're going to have the website up. We're so lost.com.
Yes, somebody's planning on staying up tonight to do it, so it ought to be real fun. Look for typos.
And we'll be up on iTunes very soon. If you're listening to this on iTunes, we're already there.
Oh, wow.
So leave us a review. That'd be super awesome.
That would be super awesome. And Michael pointed out, I didn't catch it, by the way, but did you discuss yet the episode title as Alice in Wonderland reference? I think most people know that White Rabbit is an Alice in Wonderland reference.
Yeah, they kind of referenced it in the show.
They did, kind of. But I just wanted to, this is slight Once Upon a Time geekiness. Emily DeRaven was kind of a bigger character in this run, like, because, she passed out and they woke her up and did stuff like that. But she also, she'll answer to Rebexel. her episode of Lacey for Once Upon a Time took place in the rabbit hole.
Very true. Very true.
I just, thought
another little once connection there.
The once connection. We should have had a segment, but we didn't.
We did. We tried to, but then we dropped it.
Because we forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know why? Because we're
so lost. You're supposed to play music there. Universe Luxio. Why?
Because
make it go away.
I never will. I never will. There's the title card that I meant to put up beforehand. I know, but that was awesome, guys. Thank you very much. We were talking about doing one more this week, Anne-Marie.
Yes, one more.
You were saying you thought Wednesday would be good.
I
always think tomorrow would be good.
You've already made a promise to people for tomorrow.
I have already made a promise.
And we've already moved it twice. You can't move it again. They'll rebel, and they're dangerous when they rebel.
Okay, so Wednesday. We'll come back for episode 6. It'll be fun. I was going to put in the chat room. I just put in some ideas. These are the ideas we had for titles throughout the episode. Yes. Vote in the chat room. We'll use the one you guys pick. Also, if anyone's listening to this and you're not doing anything on New Year's Eve,
if you don't have a life,
even if you are, we're going to be doing a live stream from 10:30 to about 12:30 on New Year's Eve night. And we'd love to have you join us. If you're a patron, you can hop in a hangout with us, a Google Hangout with us.
You can come talk.
All you need is a webcam or a smartphone that does it. Or I'm going to try and set up some way for people to call in.
Yeah.
So we can, just put the phone up to the thing and talk to you on the stream. So, that'd be fun too.
It would be fun.
So even if you're super busy,
right?
You can definitely feel free. We'll try and set it up to call in and stuff.
Derby Kid. My vote is for Ghost Dad.
I like the Ghost Dad.
I like Ghost Dad too.
Okay, so I
like Sawyer's General Store. But I see 2 votes for Joanna did it. Oh, there's another Sawyer's.
Oh, and Angel said she'll be around for the New Year's Eve hangout. Awesome. So it's also my birthday at midnight. So if you want to celebrate my birthday with me, that'd be fun. So do we have consensus here yet? We have, Sawyer's, I need to write these down. Okay, so.
The Derby Kid might be around for a New Year's hangout.
Nice. So we have one for Sawyer's General Store.
We have 2 for Sawyer's, 2 for Johanna. Oh yeah, Angel. She's like, especially since it's about 7:00 our time. That's true.
I'm getting them all put here in the thing.
All right, fine, do that.
Sawyer's Store.
Da, 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 da.
Okay, so all right, so we have one for. Well, actually, you know what? We'll both vote too. I'm going to vote for Ghost Dad. What do you vote?
Sawyer's General Store. I tied it up again, didn't I?
No, you broke the tie. That makes it Sawyer. But I don't like that one.
So don't use it. You're the editor.
Okay, I'll let you choose between Ghost Dad and Joanna did it.
Ghost Dad, because I can't handle another Joanna did it. I have enough Johanna did it moments like when I was watching Downton this week.
No. Oh, because she's a character on that program.
That's now over. Only 6 more days till I get to rewatch it with America.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to get out
now
of
that
here.
we've gone crazy, I should go eat something other than chocolate-covered espresso beans.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. We hope to see at least some of you, if not all of you, on Wednesday as well. Well, we're covering episode 6. I forget what the title is.
I don't know. They'll tell us.
Yeah, it'll happen. But thanks again so much, guys. Bye. Love you.